So I'll tell you the cards we do have. We'll start with those. We got 3 approaches. I think I'm only going to put 2 in here. And for some reason, I have 2 Zetalpas. I have not looked at Dominaria spoilers, so I don't know how approach is going to be affected. Though I am worried that they're like, already Red Deck Wins is a pretty tough matchup. So if they print another 1 or 2 good cards for Red Deck Wins, it could be bad. All right, and then we need the ramp. So I have 2 treasure maps. Those are going in. I have no treasure mages. I have treasure maps. And Orazca relics. I think I only have 3, but I'll probably buy another for 4. I'm also thinking, well, I was going to do Atsakan Seer, but that's for the green-white. Can't really use Pillar here. Wonder if there's any more. Knight of the White Orchard would be pretty sweet. No dagger. I think this is it, and then display all my good white control cards. There's probably a few other creatures we could stuff in here. Like Sacred Cat or Gideon's... not Gideon, Mavren Fane. Some people were playing Mavren Fane in like mono white. I don't know how you spell Mavren. Maybe something like a Danto's Vanguard even. Well, we have to play cards I have here, folks. This is not the ideal deck. This is cards I actually have. Is there any way to get more card draw? Let's just start putting in the... what other sets do we have? And Amonkhet. What's Amonkhet? AMK? I like Gideon's Intervention. That is clearly going in. Ugh. Let's see, now I have to take it away. Oh, please. Oh, please. Never gonna find it. Whatever. Screw you. Jeez. Sorry, guys. There's probably a ton of interventions. It was Amonkhet after all. The cast outs. We definitely want the cast outs because we're cycling. Cycle is a way to dig deeper and do stuff. In that case, we might also consider Renewed Faith. With, I guess, the old art. Tecatli Honor I don't think I have one. Or did we all get one? I don't know if we have enough win cons either. We got our Baffling Ends. Is there anything good Ascend stuff in white? Skymonster Aspirant doesn't seem great. How many cards are we at right now? 26? We are playing 2 treasure maps, aren't we? Where are our treasure maps? So we could splash ridiculous stuff. Maybe this will be better as green-white, but I'm going to try to build it in mono-white. Yeperet Bunch of 8s.
Yeah.
What up, man? Yeah, Cruiser. Let's stay in arena land here. What else is a good card? I'd like more win cons. Is there anything else that's a good white win con? Like we could do Angel of Sanctions probably. Embalm is nice. Sailor splash for Sailor Bean. Snub. Maybe Snub actually. Over Sacred Cat. I wonder. Or both. Because we should be ascending. Most of our removal is enchantments that stay on the board. We got treasure maps and relics. Caracal for sure. Caracal has just done endless amounts of work for me. No Caracals? I think Caracals. The problem with Caracals is it's just very scary to play into a Scarab God deck because it is really gross when they reanimate your Caracal. So you have to be careful when you're playing blue-black to make sure that you don't just jam your Caracal on turn 5. This is shaping up. We're about there now. 33. We probably need to play 26 lands. Maybe not since we're using the treasure map and the relic. Maybe we could get away with 25 or 24 lands. Slash could be okay. I just like Baffling End. I like Baffling End just way more. If I didn't have Baffling Ends, I would probably use some slashes. Are those the only white cards I play in my list? I wonder. Gideon. Get in there, frickin' Gideon. Broken Gideon. This list is a little outdated for those of you who are trying to copy it. What about Azor's Gateway? Maybe. Do you guys like Angel of Condemnation? I'm not sure I like that card. I know we all got one. It just dies to Abrade. Then again, maybe playing a turn 3 is pretty sweet. This deck probably really needs like a thematic compass and 4 maps. But then again, if we were just playing, then we might just end up playing mono white approach, and then we just play like Fumigates, which we don't have. Flickering Caracals, Condemnation saved your butt. We got a one of. I'll try her out. I mean, when you play jank like this, it's a good time to try out one ofs and cards you probably aren't sure about. I don't know. I think this is pretty good. We're at 37. So we actually need to make some cuts. Probably around this 1-drop range, we can make a lot of cuts. It'll be interesting to see whether the Snubhorn or the Cat end up being better. I mean, the cast is nice because you get to cast it twice. The Snub could actually just win a game. I don't think we're processing enough things. And we don't have enough creatures to play Monument. I mean, the idea is a ramp deck. It's not a creature deck. I don't know if there's any other green-white dinos putting in just a splash for. Anyways, I thought it was kind of an off-the-wall idea. Because mono-white ramp is pretty funny. But we'll try a green-white version that has Gifts of Paradise and is more normal. But the idea will be the same. A couple approaches, a couple Zetalpas. See what happens. It's Truebeard. It's not great against blue-black removal, which is when Cat is better. But it's good against stuff like that. The problem is Snub is still a Braid Lightning Strike, but it's above Magma Spray, which is sweet. And Magma Spray makes Snub way better than Cat. Edifice of Authority? Yeah, every time I play Edifice, I just wish I had a Compass instead. But that was in my approach deck for a little while. It does okay things. It's not spectacular. I wouldn't buy another one. Unless you had something really specific in mind. I think Maverick gets the cut. That's just weird in here. This looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. We're going to try these tonight after the downtime. Oh, Sunwing I would probably play Sunwing. But I don't think I have any. That's a pretty good card. Even if you're not playing a lot of creatures, it's pretty good. Once again, it still dies to most red, but not Magma Spray. Kinjali's would be really good. Yeah, I didn't put all my removal in there. For sure, I like having one binding. I'm pretty much a one binding kind of guy now, though. Especially once I realize that Gideon's Intervention is just... I don't want to say better, but it's really freaking good. And it does generally the same thing. I also like cast outs a little more than binding here because of this. You can cycle it, even though I know it's not as strong. But we don't really have good ways to get through our deck. Which might be a reason to play something like Priest of the Awakened Sun. Of the Awakening Sun. Because we can actually tutor up Zetalpa with it. As well as if we have Zetalpa in hand. But then I feel like we need to play some other white dino. Territorial Hammerskull is garbage for us because we don't really want to be attacking. I don't have Volcatcher's Last Mercy. Yeah, definitely play. I would play all the Cycling Deserts I have, for sure. That's a good idea. Desert of the True, is that? I think I only have 2. But for sure 4 would go in. Awakening Sun's Avatar would be sweet. I would definitely play that in this deck. I think that card is really good. We don't have it, though. But I think it deserves a shout out. I think this card is underplayed. Especially now that dinos... As dinos fall to the side of red-green monsters, this card is going to be very good. And if you can ramp to it, nice. I mean, we could say Hour of Splendor or whatever, and Hour of whatever. The 2 big ones that are kind of like Fumigates too, but this is pretty sweet. Nice, Kruzix. Give it to me so I can put it in my deck. Anyway, this deck's going to be silly. I'm going to miss all my counter spells, but maybe we'll get there. Maybe we'll get there. Yeah, Hour of Revelation and Overwhelming Splendor. I put them together. Dust to Dawn, that ends up... I guess that can't kill Zetalpa, right? It's okay. The 2 settles are going to have to do a lot of work for us. Gideon's going to have to do work. It's not going to be as good as my blue-white approach deck, but it'll be different. But since we have approaches, we're stuffing them in if we're ramping anyway, right? Yeah, I agree, Nomad. We talked about that yesterday. That was the card of the day yesterday. It's true if you use the treasure to cast for it. There's no other way to make treasure in white, right? Because it always sucks to have your treasure map run out of gas. You like burn the 3 and then you're just out of gas. Could put Legion's Landing in here, but we're never going to attack with 3. We might with, depending on how many 1-drops. Just to get more ramp in there, to have Legion's Landing flip to ramp us. Gleaming Barrier. That's actually... We might need that because I don't have all these cards. And it's on color, being colorless. It's a pretty good shout out. This card is okay. Okay. It was cool. It's cool against enraged creatures like Needletooth Raptor because it doesn't actually, it blocks it without triggering it. What is that? Blazing Hope? I might have one of those. I might try that. Access of Immortality. Anointer Priest. Yeah, maybe you just go for that Anointer Priest Sacred Cat life gain at the beginning. Just be super annoying till you ramp. Exile target creature. Crested Sunmare. If we run Anointer Priest and Cats. It's not bad. Also, if we're running Renewed Faith, we can trigger Crested Sunmare off Renewed Faith. We'll have to play around with it when we actually get in the deck builder and see what cards I actually have. White spells cost 1 less, but it's only white creature spells. Catcher's Monument depends completely on... I don't like it. It depends how many creatures we end up with, but I don't think we should end up with too many creatures. This is more about trying to ramp early, settle their board, and then just drop approaches and Zatalpas. Desert's Hold. I mean, Desert's Hold is good, but we have Baffling Ends and Castouts, and I've been running those. I cut the Desert's Hold. It's not as good as those. Stress test starts at 3 p.m. tomorrow, which is 27 hours from now. I assume they're going to keep trying, and I assume they want to crash it. They're going to try. But last time they failed. I think this time they will accomplish it. Hope it doesn't delete my computer in the process. Barrier does work well. Yeah, it's a little bit like the Compass effect. Make some attack in with extras. I'm pretty sold on the Barrier CGB. I don't know how many I have. But if I have 1 or 2, it'll probably find its way in there. Sanguine Sacrament would probably be good, but I don't have it, and I sure as hell aren't buying it. I am burnt out from Sanguine Sacrament. It did not take long. Not at all. By the way, I've appreciated the new influx of people in the game. If you guys weren't there for the alpha, or you weren't there for like the Ixalan only patch, the people who would rope a game was just ridiculous. It's like they let in a bunch of babies, and they're not like Dana Fisher, like adult babies, because adult babies can be more babyish than any baby can be. And it was amazing without the timer how much roping came in. And even once they implemented the first timer, it was still people roping. But whatever the new influx of people has done, people are actually about playing games or conceding. So that's good. Yeah, Gateway might be good. And we have a pretty spread out... we got a 0 drop, 1 drops, 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops, 7 drops, 8 drops. I do have the Gateway, and I do love Gateway. So it'll probably find its way in. We'll see. We'll have to make cuts, it looks like. Right, Kruzix? I don't know. You guys think this deck is fun? I think this deck is fun. Till my Zetolpa gets final rewarded. But besides final reward, there's not actually that great many ways to deal with a giant indestructible. Like even Scarab God decks, like what are they going to do? Zetolpa is pretty hard for them to deal with, right? If you don't Doomfall it, you can't last long against it. It's pretty hard to deal with. I could just cast it out, no problem. Or bind it or whatever. But blue-black doesn't have too much. Choops don't do it. They could copy it with Vizier, which is gross. That's not good, but then we just cast it out. I agree with you there, CGB. Search is a very good card. But then again, I play Search every day. Probably every day for the last week, I have flipped a Search for Azcanta. I don't know. I feel like there's one more Ascend card that we're missing. A sweet white Ascend card, but I don't think there are any. And it's pretty early, but I think I'm just going to eat lunch early here. The game is down. There's no gameplay to stream. Yeah, I streamed it. I called it... What did I call it? The Classy Penguin? It suffers from the same problem as this deck, though I didn't have the extra treasure map, in which it was just too hard to find approach. Eventually something beat you, and you didn't have the card draw to stay ahead of them. You didn't really... I did spike one of those black card draw cards, finally. And maybe if I went on a more duress, Doomfall, Kite Sail Freebooter, attack their hand kind of point of view, it might be better. But it falls prey to the same thing black-white always does, which is you just run out of gas and you don't have a way to refill. Bloodfast. That's what it needs. Most certainly needs Bloodfast. I do not have that. I think that's a rare worth buying. If you're playing black-green, I think that's a good way to beat approach in general. Since we're not messing with your life total at all. It's a good way to beat blue-black control too, I would think. To get the advantage. I think that card is very good. It's seen a lot of standard play. And it should. And I'm kind of surprised people aren't spending more rares on it. I guess there's too many other entertaining cards. If you guys have not been to the Jank Brewing Company, it's probably because I can't brew any Jank because we ain't got no cards. It's just a little hard to brew right now, people. It's a little hard to brew. I'm doing my best, but most of the time I'm just playing a good blue-white approach deck. But tonight I think we're going to get into some brewing right when our deck actually gets good. Still probably going for a third settle if I open another rare wild card. If I open a mythic wild card, I have no idea what to get with it.